full of joy.
Yeah, that's good. I was
Yeah.
just telling one of my other friends earlier that, well, I guess we can go ahead and open now. Hi guys, welcome to the Love Circle. I'm so glad that y'all are here. Jackie and I was just having this conversation about healing ourselves and loving on ourselves. So this is the perfect time to segue right into the Love Circle. But I just want to thank y'all for coming in. I thank y'all for just being lively, for being you, for being love, for being light, for being positive, for bringing positivity into other people's lives. I thank y'all for wanting to love on yourselves and love on other people because it's a hard time right now. So I thank y'all for tuning in. And I love y'all so much. Y'all, I cannot express it enough. Oh my gosh, I just love y'all. So, in this circle, we have a strong and positive attitude that allows us to encourage, promote, and create new beginnings.
In this circle, we have a strong and positive attitude that allows us to encourage, promote, and create new beginnings.
As you all know, we come to every circle with open hearts and minds. We respect others and their opinions, and we listen to understand, not to respond. And today's discussion is going to be on redefining grief. I want y'all to take this time to sit there and think back to the last time you heard somebody talking about grieving. Was it the death of somebody? That's typically how we hear about somebody grieving something. But what about us grieving the loss of a friendship or the ending of a friendship or a relationship or a chapter in our lives that we thought that was going to be forever? Because we tend to hold on to things. But then when it's time to let those things go, the grieving sets in. And we don't often call it grieving, but it is a form of grieving. So how do we start the healing, the grieving process for those things?
One of the things now that I'm dealing with that is causing me to grieve is the aging of my parents. I have parents who are in their 70s. My dad's he's going to be 80 next year. Mm-hmm. And every now and then when he goes back and forth to the hospitals, he's on dialysis 3 days a week. My mom has a series of health issues as well. And now we're in this place to where we're no longer the children. We're the children, but we're taking the place of caregiver too.
Yeah.
And it's causing me to grieve a little bit. Not that I am inconvenienced by this duty, because it's my honor to be there for my parents. But I grieve because they're not the people who they were when we were, they're older. They're not the same people. Their steps are a little shorter. Their strength is gone. The eyesight is leaving. My dad, he's has early dementia. He has dementia. So every year I'm seeing that he's getting forgetful. He asks me the same things over and over again. And it grieves me, Symphony. Like, I get so sad. These people were like my rocks, my superheroes, right? And now we're in the season to where they're weak and they're little people now. They're little people to me now. And so that causes me to grieve. And the way that I've been processing that whole thing is by I reflect and I just get super grateful for what they brought into my life and them bringing me to life. And just thinking back on the things that, because of the work that they've done, the sacrifices that they made for me and my brothers and sister, the things that we are able to do because of their sacrifices. And I just see it as a life well spent. Mm-hmm. My dad and my mom have a great name in the community. People, when I tell people my last name, like my maiden name, I'm Jackie Jackson. It was like, oh, you the Jacksons that live on Garfield Street, you the George and Belle Jackson. I was like, yeah. They was like, oh, those good people. Those are good people. Those are good. So they gave me the gift of a good name. So those are things that I celebrate, and it brings me out of my grief a little bit. I also have to be aware of the season that I'm in with them, the season that they're in, and that kind of prepares me for what the inevitable.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be real. It prepares me for the inevitable. And I've experienced the love and the things that they offered me. Thank you for the gift of life that they gave me. You know, when I think on that, it makes the grief lift a little bit. Now, I've also been through the grief of losing I lost two brothers and an aunt who was like a second mother to me. She lived right across the street from where I grew up. Her husband and my uncle and my dad are brothers. So we grew up like, you know, it's like a blended family basically from across the street. And those deaths, my first brother who died, he died in 15 years, 15 years before my other brother died, almost to the day. Both of them the week of Mother's Day, and then my aunt died the year before the second brother died. I hope that makes sense. I'm gonna sound it all over the place, but anyway, there was a lot of death, and it kind of it shifted me in places. Like, it made me a brand new person experiencing deaths so close. I was actually in the room with my brother when he passed away, and that was a life-changing situation for me. But the way, again, when dealing with that grief, of course, I went like there was some stuff that was going on. Oh my goodness. Like, I totally lost myself in those deaths, and I let grief take over, which I don't recommend that for anybody, because it causes you to make decisions and choices that are not good. It causes you go into this deep, dark place. You just want out of life. Like, you check out of life. And that happened as well. But then love is what brought me back to a place of being okay with what happened. Thinking about how much I loved them, and I'm being so grateful that I was able to be loved by them. It started bringing me memories, sweet memories that things that we talked about or laughed about. Those things caused me to kind of push past grief. I know it's cliche, but time does heal. Time heals.
Definitely.
And it causes you to go back and reflect, and it helps you get through that grieving process.
Yeah. So for me, grief, I didn't realize that it was different forms of grieving until actually like a couple of months ago. But I first dealt with grief when I got to college, and just like you, losing people back to back, I lost my great grandmother, I lost my granddad, I lost my uncle, and my uncle's death, I kind of felt like it was my fault because he wanted me to make him a peach cobbler, and I kept telling him no, and I finally gave in and made him a peach cobbler, and he died the next day. So like that was hard for me for the longest. And then after all of them passed, my mom found out she had cancer. So we had just started our relationship. We just got to a point where we had a good relationship. And then she found out she had cancer. And then that went into remission. And then it came back. And I was like, okay, now I'm okay with having my mother. And then she passes. And I was like, okay, now how do I deal with all of this? Like, I heard about people talking about grief for years, but I didn't understand what grief was. Sometimes I don't even think I grieved fully, but I think other things that I grieved in my life that happened in college helped me grieve with my mother, like meeting you in college, being in concert choir, certain relationships that I
love. I'm telling you, love heals. Love
really
heals. It heals. Yeah, it lets you know that you're connected. It lets you know you're connected, that you have a support system.
Yes.
When you feel alone, you always have support. I don't care if you think you're the loneliest person ever. If you were to post something and let's say you don't have any family, if you were to post something about you being lonely, I'm willing to guarantee you're going to have people that are going to reach out to you and say, hey, you're going to always, that's just how this world works. And Stephanie, with you, and you're talking about your grandfather, and you made that peach cobbler and then he passed away. When me looking in, how about, can we reshape that? Can we reframe that to him saying, that's all I wanted before I left this earth, is to share that with my granddaughter. And did he enjoy it?
Yeah.
So you gave him joy in his passing season. And with your mom, there was a moment of restoration before she left. So that's a gift, that you were able to have that restoration before your mother left this earth. And you just imagine if you didn't have that moment. Think about the guilt that you would carry. But because of love, it wasn't so. It was, you had a chance to reshape and reframe your relationship with your mother before she left it. And I think that's such a gift. Both of those are gifts.
Yeah.
They're really, really gifts. And in the midst of grieving, and sometimes it takes you a minute to get on the outside of the grief. Again, letting time pass. And then you get to look back and look at the lessons that are learned from grieving. If it's a death of a person or an ending of a relationship or the ending of a job, like I'm grieving, getting ready to go back to work. Like I'm not I'm not trying. I want to go back to work, but I'm grieving right now because I have to go back to work. But what I have to do is reframe that for me. And so me going back to work is my opportunity to pour back into young people. It's my opportunity to lift young people and to educate young people. So it makes me feel better going in because I'm going in with purpose. Right. The same thing with looking back. I am grieving, those people that I grieved when they left here, looking back, there's so many lessons that they gave me. There's so many memories that they gave me. Mm-hmm. And I cling to those and I carry them today. And the way I honor them is by living in a way that would honor their lives. I think about each one of them and I think about what would they do in this instance? Or how would they tell me to go about doing this? I honor them by going about my life in a way that honors, that brings them honor. That's what I aim to do every single time. When I walk on stage to sing, I think about my brothers sitting in front of me, smiling and clapping, and it gives me such what, like I'm doing this for you all. And when you're doing your thing, Symphony, like this love circle, I believe that your mom is a part of this love circle. I believe that your grandfather is a part of this love circle, and your grandmother. I believe they're all a part of the circle, baby. I really believe that they're here supporting you and loving you and saying, "Go, Symphony, go." So again, it just takes us taking that moment to step back. Sometimes we have to step outside of ourselves. Of course, deal with it. You're grieving, sit in it. Grieve. You're gonna have that moment. But once you heal, step back and look and say, "Oh my goodness, I didn't do this alone." There's a Maya Angelou quote that says, "I come as one, but I stand as 10,000." So all of those that we've left, even the relationships, they bring stuff to the table. Like they teach us things. Relationships, experiences teaches us things. So that when we stand in front, like you get ready to go into this new venture in your business or this new level, know that you come as one, but you're standing as 10,000. They're all at your back. All those experiences, all those learned lessons, all those people that have passed, they are cheering you on. They're built. They've made you to. They created this thing in you that's causing you to move forward.
Right. You know what? Like that was part of the reason, like why it was so hard for me to let go of being at Savannah State, because it was so much of who I was. Like it was hard for me to let that part go. I made so many good relationships there that it just built me up so much. It was hard to like let go. And then one day I was like, you know what? The people that you have encountered, the journey that you're on now, you're on it for a reason.
And celebrate that. Yeah. Celebrate what you had.
Exactly.
And the people. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. It's okay to let that go because that was a stage in your life that you needed. Now it's time to move past that. What's the next stage?
But Symphony, that's the thing. You're not letting it go. You're bringing it with you.
Well, yeah.
The lessons, and the experiences. Because of course they put, it's like a building. Like it's one of those little puzzle pieces that it filled in your body and you're in you. And who you are.
It's instilled in you.
You take it with you. Yeah. Why would I be here if that wasn't true? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Exactly. That's so true. Yeah. So that has been our 11 minutes and 11 seconds. This was really good, Jackie. This was really
I enjoyed
good.
It, yeah.
Like, I just wanted this to kind of be about, because we talk about losing people all the time, but how do you actually deal with it? Like, in the aspect of your life, how do you actually deal with it?
It's not easy. It is not easy. It is not easy. But it's a process, and it's a part of your learning. It's a part of your building. Yeah. And if you see it that way, you ask it, what are you here to teach me? It makes things a little bit, it softens things a little bit. It's going to hurt. I am not taking away the pain. It's going to hurt, but there are lessons that you're going to glean from it that you're going to take with you for years and years and years. Yeah. And that's the important thing. So don't give up in your grief. See, grief has gifts as well. Yeah. Grief brings gifts as well. Yeah.
That is so true. Thank you again. And I want y'all to have an awesome night. This has been another dope episode of The Love Circle. I love y'all. Be great.